Us as humans, we were not created to constantly live in a bend, don't break state without any relief, without any chance to catch our breath. Because anything, almost anything that bends long enough will break, including you and including me. So what do we do with that? And where do we go? And you know this, right? You lived life long enough to know this, that there are a lot of things in our control. And so as we're talking about, rest and distractions vying for our attention, there's a lot of things that we can do. What is our attention going to? How do we rest? But you've lived long enough to know this. There's a lot of life that is outside of your control. So what I want to spend a few minutes unpacking with you today is, what do we do when the bending is a result of something outside of our control? Like what do we do when even the point of breaking is a result of something outside of our control? Like, what do we do when life just throws us something that wasn't a part of the plan, that we were not hoping, and it was not something that we were expecting? I have this picture in my head. You remember this, Rocky IV? Drago walks into the ring and he looks at Rocky and he says, "I must break you." Remember that? I feel like life says that to me all the time in my toddlers. But what do we do? What do we do? What do we do when we're bending and on the verge of breaking? Or for some of you, what do we do when we've broken and we're left trying to pick up the pieces and we're not sure how to put it all back together? The parts of life that we can't control, the difficulty of life that we would not choose, right? It's the loss that we experience. It's the tragedy that we walk through. It's the pain that we feel. It's the trials that we have to navigate, the hurt that rocks us to our core. The layoff that we did not see coming, the diagnosis, the passing of a loved one, the rejection that cut deep. And if you're being honest, right, regardless of what you do or don't believe about faith, because we're human, we've all been there, it can quickly lead every single one of us and all the bending and even to the point of breaking where we just feel hopeless. Like we can't control it. We don't know how to fix it. And when you're here, what then? When you're here, how do you keep going then? How do you keep bending then? How do you walk resiliently then? How do you keep believing then? In fact, if you're being totally honest, there might be some of you in the room, and one of the reasons you walked away from faith, one of the reasons you stopped believing was because of the breaking. Because life will happen. Plans get blown up, dreams crushed, desired outcomes derailed, external things that we had anchored our lives to ran out, let us down, were not enough. And in that state of surviving, we're left vulnerable because we're never more reminded of our humanity and our own limitations. In that state of surviving, hopeless, we're insecure. And I don't mean like middle school insecure, does my outfit look good? I mean the insecure that's like, there's an unsettling feeling I have about my future and I don't like how it feels. It's when we're easily thrown, it's when our faith is easily shaken because we've anchored our lives, we've anchored our souls to something too small. And under the weight that is life, under the weight of the things we cannot control that will try our faith, under the weight of the things that lead us to bend, under the weight of the things that lead us to the point of breaking or breaking itself, we need a reason to keep going, a reason to keep believing, a reason to keep on walking. There was this experiment that was done back in the 1950s by a professor at Johns Hopkins. His name was Kurt Richter. And he was experimenting with hope theory. And the way he laid out this experiment was he had two groups of rats. And what he did with the first group of rats is he would drop one of the rats from that group in a bucket of water, and he would time how long they would continue to swim before they just gave up. And in that controlled group of rats, they swam anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes and they just gave up. But then with the second group What he would do is he would put a rat in the water and have him swim, but then every 2 to 3 minutes he would pick up the rat and give it just a few seconds of relief, and then he'd put the rat back in the water. And what they found with that second controlled group, they never stopped swimming. Because of the hope of rescue, they had a reason to keep swimming. And Professor Richter concluded this in the write-up of his study. This is so powerful. He said, after the elimination of hopelessness, the rats do not die. After the elimination of hopelessness, they had a reason to keep going. Or another way to say it, they had a hope to keep going. Here's what I know about you and me is that we have to have a reason to keep swimming, a reason to keep believing, a reason to keep going in light of the bending and even in the breaking. And I'm just here to tell you that reason has to be bigger than us, and it has to be bigger than anything this world can offer you or me. Here's the beautiful thing about the Christian faith, and here's the beautiful thing about Jesus, is that Jesus came to eliminate hopelessness. Jesus walked onto the scene in that first century New Testament context, and he walked into the mess. He took on the mess, and he came to eliminate hopelessness for you and for me. He came to give us something to anchor our souls to. The Gospel of John, the Apostle John documents for us a really intimate moment that Jesus has with his disciples. And the scenes that take place in 14, 15, and 16, it's one long interaction and conversation, and it's just a little while before Jesus would go die on the cross for the sins of the world. And here Jesus is preparing the hearts of the disciples, and he's letting them know, hey, in just a little while, I'm going to leave. And so in that context, kind of the tail end of the conversation, John chapter 16, picking up in verse 33, Jesus says to his disciples, hey, I've told you these things, all that I've told you about where I'm going, why I'm going, and the Spirit that's coming, so that in me, relationally connected to me, you may have peace. And you're gonna need it, because then he makes them a promise. In this world, you will have trouble. It's a promise. It's a promise that in this world you will have trouble, that we will have good days, but we're gonna have some bad days, and the burdens of the bad days are gonna feel heavier than all of the good days. There are gonna be seasons when we aren't okay. We're gonna walk through some difficulty. There's gonna be things that cause us to worry, things that cause us to fear, things in the future, in the unknown that we cannot control. In this world, you will have trouble. And then he looks at his disciples. He tells you and he tells me, he says, but take heart. Don't give up. Do not despair. Literally it reads, but be of great courage. Courage meaning that even in the face of the difficulty, take a step. Even in the face of fear, take a step. Even in the face of adversity, do not give up. Do not quit swimming. That in the bending, in the face of whatever is threatening to break you, in the face of whatever wants to limit your capacity for peace and joy, Jesus says, take heart. In what strength? He goes on to say, one of the most powerful lines in all of the New Testament. He looks at his disciples and he says, but take heart. Don't despair. I have overcome the world. And this statement right here is the foundation upon which the Christian faith is built on. Jesus was telling his disciples, in this world you're gonna face trouble, but I need you to tell you something. I always win. Jesus was giving his disciples a reason to keep going in the face of trouble. He was giving them a reason to believe in the face of hopelessness. He was giving them something to anchor their souls to no matter what they faced this side of heaven. And in this moment, Jesus eliminated hopelessness, because just a little while later, Jesus would go to the cross He would die for the sins of the world, and then he would be placed in a tomb, and all of his followers thought it was over. But then on the third day, he rose. The resurrection changed everything, and the resurrection changes everything. Because in that moment, the worst thing that could happen to a human this side of heaven, as one of my seminary professors put it, is death, the separation of the soul from the body. And Jesus stared at death, conquered death once and for all, for all. Jesus took the breaking so that we wouldn't have to. He defeated the power of sin, which is why there's any bending and breaking in this world as it is. That in this world you will have trouble, and there are going to be seasons that are hard, and there's going to be the moments where the struggle is real, moments when the darkness feels like it's closing in, where you are more overcome than you feel like you are winning. And in that, the hope of the resurrection is light in the darkness. Because the hope of the resurrection tells you and it tells me, it anchors our soul to the reality that anything this side of heaven does not have the final say. You are never alone. You are deeply loved, and Jesus always wins. So, my friends, what is your hope set on? And I'll just speak for myself. We're going to navigate the trouble and the difficulty of life no matter what you do or don't believe about faith. I can't imagine doing it without the hope of Jesus because I don't know where to look. It's too much for me to bear. It's too much for me to do. It's too much. It's too heavy. It's too scary. I need the hope of Jesus to be true. And his resurrection offers you something that nothing else can, an anchor for the soul, firm and secure.